So, point of order, we cannot actually get a change of government by ballot initiative. That's illegal. It goes against our charter. Attention to these words. It's a French runoff election. That's what Strong Mayor wants. They want a French runoff election. My idea is an instant runoff voting election. Examples, it is never too late to raise a point of order since any action so taken is null and void. It's not constitutional. You can't do it. Personally, I like our three branches of government. I think it's genius. The rest of the world has picked up on it. So maybe we should rediscover the three branches here in our own community. We've had 23 mayors in Pueblo City before. It was a disaster, depressions all over the place, indictments, corruption. It was horrible. For technicalities, because the first 2 months, in 6 months we can have a brand new charter. In 2 months, we're going to have a special election for a charter convention. In 2 months after that, the 21 delegates will be elected to the charter convention. And then 2 months after that, we elect a charter. It'd be a strong mayor charter. So right now, strong mayor is very much in breach of the law. Strong mayor is an illegal anarchist who just the second choice of the last place winner. So Michael Stapleton was last place. So who would win between Tommy Farrell and Bob Schilling if we redistributed Michael Stapleton's votes? They want to fight you. They shouldn't. That's, these are all good things in a democracy. So the three revolutions, to review it one more time, the coup d'etat, violent revolutions, a George Washington kind of revolution, and then you got a constitutional revolution, and then you got an electoral revolution. Electoral revolutions, we could vote all the people out and put in new people. With a constitutional revolution, we can rewrite the entire rules to the game. We can have a Bobby Fischer kind of chess, or an American. Taking out that charter convention is taking out the home rule sovereignty. Our own charter convention will have to listen to the fucking state. It goes along with what that professor was saying, how we have no constitutional standing when actually being a home rule city, one of the original home rule cities. And we're one of the OGs. We're one of the original gangster independent Catalonias. Catalonia is doing, freaking the fuck out of Spain. Pueblo City, it was a pioneer. We've been Catalonia for over 100 years. We've been Catalonia for 106 years. And I actually want to see change. So charter conventions are revolutionary because they're constitutional revolutions. We have electoral revolutions, change the leadership. We have elections every year. So we got the potential for a progressive. We've had 23 mayors in Pueblo City before. It was a disaster, depressions all over the place, indictments, corruption. It was horrible. Of the Michael Stapleton voters, and redistribute those votes. And then, bam, we found out that, Schilling is the winner, or Farrell is the majority. Now we have a majority backing one of the candidates. We actually have a functional democracy. So right now, only 42% of the voting members of District 1 support Chin Chin. 48, only 600 out of 20,000 votes, 639. And then some people didn't even vote on it. 488 people didn't vote on it, and then 6 people voted for both of them. So they are clearly stupid. So this takes away our constitutional revolution. This takes away our city, our home rule, our way of doing our constitutional revolution, our charter convention. We can do the charter convention, essentially we want a brand new charter. We're going to write the rules to the game, and here's the new rules. That's the point. Are we going to trip over? It's not clear. It does make the executive stronger, but the judicial branch is going to be in disarray. It's going to be obedient to the executive, so the executive is going to control the judicial branch. For technicalities, because the first 2 months, in 6 months we can have a brand new charter. In 2 months, we're going to have a special election for a charter convention. In 2 months after that, the 21 delegates will be elected to the charter convention. And then 2 months after that, we elect a charter. It'd be a strong mayor charter. So right now, strong mayor is very much in breach of the law. Strong mayor is an illegal anarchist who just formed out of, it's a Frankenstein. You just made it up out of fucking thin air. Attention to these words. It's a French runoff election. That's what strong mayor wants. They want a French runoff election. My idea is an instant runoff voting election. So it's the same idea, but we do it all in one day, and we do it instantaneously. We don't have to wait another month. We don't have to have another expensive election. It happens that moment, that day. How does that work? Well, we rank the candidates. Examples, it is never too late to raise a point of order since any action so taken is null and void. It's not constitutional. You can't do it. Functioning democracy with a civil society, in the great pool of ideas, the best ideas prevail. Ideas are currency in a democracy. So I don't really want to steal. I just want everybody to have a fair shot. It should be fair. It should be fair. And so it wasn't fair. This Chamber of Commerce thing did this all to the side, and he's a lawyer, so he's like, oh, I'm a lawyer, so, I look at it like this. Whether you're conservative or liberal, the Section 1-2 is interpreted the exact same way. So we all agree if we actually take a step back and look at the thing. But if we're already digging a ditch in the wrong spot and, somebody says, hey, why are you digging that ditch over there? You initially want to be like, this is where I'm supposed to dig the ditch. What do you mean? Why do you think I'm not supposed to dig the ditch here? So the three revolutions, to review it one more time, the coup d'etat, violent revolutions, a George Washington kind of revolution, and then you got a constitutional revolution, and then you got an electoral revolution. Electoral revolutions, we could vote all the people out and put in new people. With a constitutional revolution, we can rewrite the entire rules to the game. We can have a Bobby Fischer kind of chess or an American. So right now, only 42% of the voting members of District 1 support. So this takes away our constitutional revolution. This takes away our city, our home rule, our way of doing our constitutional revolution, our charter convention. We can do the charter convention, essentially we want a brand new charter. We're going to write the rules to the game, and here's the new rules. That's the point. Are we going to trip over? Is there not an adequate check on the police right now? I mean, they just released that damn video, right, after the election, and it was like, yeah, dude shoots dude in the head. Pow. And he's going to get away with it because he's got a badge. We rule our own shit here in Pueblo City. So stripping out that charter convention is taking away our own way of doing things. So now we have to listen to the state's recommendation, very micromanaged way of doing it. We can fucking squabble over their interpretation and this little detail, and that it's not very crystal clear. It's muddled and, it's fair. So point of order, we cannot actually get a change of government by ballot initiative. That's illegal. It goes against our charter. And since the state allows home rule cities to declare themselves home rule and get their own autonomy and sovereignty, and they can design their government and run themselves as they see fit per the 1912 Home Rule Amendment, of which Pueblo City herself was a pioneer at. That's one of the 4 original home rule cities that's mentioned inside of Colorado's Constitution. So the U.S. cedes all the rest of the authority that it doesn't take, all right? It takes it to the 10th Amendment to the states and to the people, to the states and to the people. So, point of order. That's all it would have taken if I had been at this meeting when this was being discussed. Wait a second, you want to change a form of government? And you're going to try to do it by, oh, you can't do it. No, in order to change the governing section 1-2, yeah, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, right. So now let's go, through the proper channels. So that's what the judges, that's what the state courts need to do. They need to put this train back on the tracks, right? Right now, this is a criminal initiative. This initiative is asking to essentially, it's akin to taking away our free speech. So, yes or no, should we ban free speech forever? Yes or no, should we throw our democracy into the toilet and get ourselves a tyrannical mayor? If this foundation is built upon criminal grounds, then that's a house built on sand. So we need a point of order. Grounds for a point of order from Robert's Rules of Order. It is the right of every member who notices a breach of the rules to insist on their enforcement. If the chair notices a breach, he corrects the matter immediately. But if he fails to do so, through oversight or otherwise, any member can make the appropriate point of order. The presiding officer may wish to consult the parliamentary authority or the parliamentarian before ruling and may allow the assembly to stand at ease. See page 80 to 81 while he does so. In any event, when the presiding officer has made a ruling, any two members can appeal, one making the appeal and the other seconding it as described in 24. Clearly, I am in the right. A member is uncertain as to whether there is a breach on which a point of order can be made. He can make a parliamentary inquiry of the chair. In ordinary meetings, it is undesirable to raise points of order on minor irregularities of a purely technical character if it is clear that no one's rights are being infringed upon and no real harm is being done to the proper transaction of business. The timeliness requirement for a point of order. If a question of order is to be raised, it must be raised promptly at the time the breach occurs. For example, if the chair, maybe I should stop is starting the question on a motion that has not been seconded or on a motion that is out of order in the existing parliamentary situation, the time to raise these points of order is when the chair states the motion. After debate on such a motion has begun, no matter how clearly out of order the motion may be, a point of order is too late. If a member is unsure of his point or wishes to hear what the maker has to say on behalf of the motion before pressing a point of order, he may, with the chair's sufferance, reserve a point of order against the motion. But after the maker has spoken, he must insist upon his point of order or withdraw it. Points of order regarding the conduct of a vote may be raised immediately following the announcement of the voting result up until another member has been recognized and has introduced another matter. The only exceptions to the rule that a point of order must be made at the time of the breach arise in connection with breaches that are of a continuing nature, in which case a point of order can be made at any time during the continuance of the breach. Instances of this kind occur when there's A, B, C, D, and E. So you ready? A main motion has been adopted that conflicts with the bylaws or constitution of the organization or assembly. B, a main motion has been adopted that conflicts with a main motion previously adopted and still in force unless the subsequently adopted motion was adopted by the vote required to rescind or amend the previously adopted motion. C, any action has been taken in violation of applicable procedural rules described by federal, state, or local law. D, any action has been taken in violation of a fundamental principle of parliamentary. E, any action has been taken in violation of either a rule protecting absentees or a rule protecting a basic right of an individual member. This is from page 255. I don't have to tell you that, you know. Okay. So, in all such cases, it is never too late to raise a point of order, since any action so taken is null and void. So you have to do a point of order right away, right? So if it was the agenda or the whatever business or the prayer or something, somebody did something out of, no, you were supposed to do the prayer, then the thing, you're just supposed to do invocation, so just a call to business. And so it's perfunctory. We do the pledge and a prayer, apparently. But, you know, which comes first? Do you call the meeting to order? Do you do the prayer first? Do you do the agenda? Actually listing a million reasons why this strong mayor thing, not only is it illegal, but it's stupid and it's shitty and it could be made better. So I like all the people. I think I could get along with Nick Gardasar if he isn't too mad at me. But Nick Gardasar is, you know, trying to do, let's assume he has good intentions. So he is trying to change a form of government through the incorrect proper procedure. So we need to do it by the proper procedure, right? We need to listen to the charter, Home Rule Amendment, Colorado. Come on, let's be serious now. So we need to get back to the rule of law. We need to get back to constitutional rule of law. Let's everybody listen to the law. It comes from the charter. and the constitutions of Colorado and the United States. Of course they do. So I was wanting to actually go through all this, the deliberative assembly rules, the basic provisions, pattern of formality, call to order of business. So let's just go to 24, right? There's also a chapter about conventions, how to do conventions. You want a fair way of how to do a constitutional Independence Day kind of convention, which is how Colorado was born and the United States of America in a convention. Order of business, reading and approval of minutes, reports of officers, boards, and standing committees, reports of special committees, special orders, unfinished business, and general orders in the new business. Isn't that nice? It's just scientific. This is like a scientific study of ways, when you pile everybody into a room, the majority get their way, but the minority get their say. But we all can't be talking at once, so people have to talk one at a time, and so we got to order ourselves to where we all can present our business in a timely, efficient manner. Notices a breach of order that may do harm if allowed to pass. He rises, and without waiting for recognition, immediately addresses the chair as follows. I rise to a point of order, or point of order. Anyone who is speaking takes his seat, okay, we need to make this, gender neutral, takes their seat. If the point relates to a transgression of the rules of debate, the form used may be, Mr. President, I call the gentleman to order. The chair then asks the member to state his point of order or what words in the debate he objects to. What words in this debate do you object to? I make the point of order that, On completing his statement, the member resumes his seat. So point of order, you're an asshole. So point of order, you need a constitutional convention in order to have the thing. Point of order, you need a constitutional convention if you want to change the form of government. The chair recognizes the point of order. We need to do the thing with the thing. Right. Ball with the ball. Bang-a-ding, diggy-diggy. Up. Excuse me. I'm messing up here. Up, jump the boogie. So when you're up jumping the boogie, right here it says if it's a constitutional change or the bylaws, the charter, right? And that means a point of order can be made at any time because that's just illegal. You just can't do it. It's impossible. In all such cases, all 5 examples, it is never too late to raise a point of order since any action so taken is null and void. It's not constitutional. You can't do it. Upon completing his statement, point of order, we need to have a charter convention in order to change our form of government. The chair now is faced with a decision. What is the chair going to decide? It's just a ruling, a parliamentary procedure ruling. So you don't want to infringe upon people's rights. You have the right to the objection. So because we need a charter, why would you say that? Well, Section 1-2, it comes from our charter, and that's where all the laws come from. It emanates from, right, that's my constitutional theory. So Jonathan Masters has his, constitutional theory, his literal structure, his literal, strict constitutional constructionalist perspective. The chair then rules whether the point of order is well taken or is not well taken. So that's the language. Point of order, Constitutional Convention, the point of order is well taken. It's the chair, which would be the president, Steve Nalraki, and the presidential decision. Who gets to be president is going to be one of the first major decisions this new city council is going to have to decide. 5 of the city council members are still the same. 2 are new. 1 is left of center. And then the other one is just a crazy gun-toting, independent-thinking cowboy. So no telling actually what he's going to like and dislike and what, what his policies are going to be. I have some clue. I got some clue. He says he's the policy of no. So he's just going to say no to everybody and everything. And all dollars spent, all ballots, everything. Nope. No. So the point is well taken, and you have to stand up. The point is well taken, and then they sit down. So you can study it sitting down, but the chair's decision requires any action and no appeal is made. He sees that the necessary action is taken before proceeding with the pending business. Thus, if the point of order relates to a breach of decorum in debate that is not serious, the chair can allow the member to continue his speech. But if the member's remarks are decided to be improper and anyone objects, the member cannot continue speaking without a vote of the assembly to that effect. See page 626 to 626. So you didn't look at page 226, did you, City Council of Pueblo City? The Noraki Court, the old Noraki Court? And is it going to be a Flores court or an Aleph court or a Brown court? Who's going to be the new president? I think Brown could be the kingmaker, but then they might make, him the king too. Everybody wants, right? They all have ambition. Rendering his decision, the chair can consult the parliamentarian if there is one. The chair can also request the advice of experienced members. But no one has the right to express such opinions in the meeting unless requested to do so by the chair. When the chair is in doubt as to how to rule on an important point, he can submit it to the assembly for decision in some such manner as, Chair, Mr. Downey raises a point of order that the amendment is not germane to the resolution. The chair is in doubt and submits the question to the assembly. The resolution is blah, blah, blah. The proposed amendment is blah, blah, blah. The question is the amendment germane to the resolution? So is a charter convention germane to our charter, or can we change the entire form of government by a ballot initiative? Can we ban the freedom of speech? No appeal can be made from a decision of the assembly itself. This question is open to debate whenever an appeal would be. That is, the question submitted by the chair to the assembly for decision is debatable except when it relates to indecorum or transgression of the rules of speaking or to the priority of business, or when it is made while an undebatable question is pending, as in the case of debate on an appeal 24, when a point of order that is submitted to a vote is debatable. No member can speak more than once in the debate except the chair, who can speak in preference to other members the first time and who is also entitled to speak a second time at the close of debate. In the example given above, the question may be put as follows. Chair, those of the opinion that the amendment is germane say aye. Those of the opinion that it is not germane say no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is in order. So that was really fun for me. Thank you for not watching or encouraging me whatsoever. So it's illegal. It's illegal. As a strict constitutional constructionalist, whether you're conservative or liberal, the Section 1.2 is interpreted the exact same way. So we all agree if we actually take a step back and look at the thing. But if we're already digging a ditch in the wrong spot and, somebody says, hey, why are you digging that ditch over there? You initially want to be like, this is where I'm supposed to dig the ditch. What do you mean? Why do you think I'm not supposed to dig the ditch here? So procedure to amend or repeal charter and ordinance adopted by 2/3 of the governing vote of the governing board. The city council itself, 7 of the 7 members put this on the fucking. So 2/3 of city council, 7, 4, 2/3, rounded up to 5. So if you get 5 out of 7 members, you can get a charter convention. And that's the easiest, best way to do it. That's what this new Mark Aleph is for a charter convention. I don't know if Dennis Flores is. He might be open to it because, you're supposed to do it the correct way. But 5 of the 7 can put it on as the proper charter convention, 1, 2, 3 elections. We could do this over 6 months, in 2 months, and still get the mayor by November. So in 2 months, anyways, instead of getting 5 of 7 to do a charter convention, they got 7 of 7 to do a ballot measure. So they had the votes, they had the support. If Nick Gardasar would have just said, let's do a charter convention, that would have happened. But there was a reason, right? You're opening Pandora's box. Oh, no, we're going to change all the rules. But we're just changing the rules, okay? Amendment is, anyways, this is 70 amendments. This is a skinny charter. This So he is adding the law and finance mafia protection law. This increases the protections for city employees who beat the shit out of the public in the course of their own duties, or by a city employee acting within the course of employment. That was added to Section 6.4 for no fucking reason. It doesn't go along with the rest of the language. It's kind of like, why did you just, somebody just threw this shit in there? And Nick Gardesar said at the strong mayor meeting at the Pueblo Community College that it was for immunity, for the immunity clause, something about immunity. And the only thing I know about immunity is that the police sometimes say that they deserve immunity since they're a state actor and then they get to do as they please. So this helps increase the protections for the police to declare immunity. Just the police, also the fire department and wastewater and the information technology. We got 15 departments, so, you know, or 20 or 30 or so, I don't know. I think 15. None of them, I've never asked anything from any of them. So I don't know if they're actually supposed to, like, help us with stuff or not. If they are, it would be nice to know what things they help us with and then how, you know, we can get that assistance. I don't know. Maybe a counselor, have a coach, a big brother program. So they're changing the rule, right? Section 6.4 is changing the rules. It's substantially changing the rules. And the changing the rules, it's just like, let me give you an example. Bobby Fischer, he's a master chess champion. The Bobby Fischer way of playing chess is you take the back row and you just mix and match them randomly. So that would be a whole nother game. It's not that I'm against changing the rules or changing the way how the game is played. I just want, when we change the rules to the game, that, you know, everybody could jump in and help. So one example, I could have made the way the mayor gets elected better. So there's going to be a French runoff election, a French-style runoff election. So we all vote like kind of like the at-large thing, right? 7 fucking people, a big clusterfuck. And then after that big clusterfuck, 2 people are going to emerge, and we take the top 2 people, and then they run against each other, and then they are the ones that become the mayor. That's how the runoff election works. And so that would be Flores versus Aleph, and then we would have that next election the month afterwards. And what that would do, that would unite the city. So it does increase democracy. We would have a majority champion. Either Aleph or Flores would become the mayor. So that's awesome. That's incredible. I like the runoff election idea. Unfortunately, it's 2 elections, right? So we're going to have another expensive, these are millions of dollars of elections. And one person should win $1 million. That would increase the voter turnout rate. We already spend millions of dollars. I'd actually like to know, what is the bottom line? You know, how much are these elections? Bo, isn't that his name? Gilbert Ortiz. So Gilbert, how much are these elections, and what was the turnout rate for the city? Not the county, the city. 22,000 voters was the total vote count, but how many registered voters? Have we cleaned up this registration? Are there people that's on the registration that shouldn't be on the registration? Have we, you know, I want a good, accurate turnout number for the city, because it's under 50% guaranteed. I think it's under 30%. So this thing's already changing the rules. So when you change the rules, okay, let's randomly assort our pieces on the back row however we want. What is that going to do? We're playing chess in a different way. I mean, chess has been played for thousands and millennia, right? We've been playing chess one certain way the whole time. Why would we change it? So we change it all because we're bored. We don't like it. It's too fucking, you know, monarchical kings and queens. We're Americans, so we're presidents and senators and attorney generals and U.S. marshals and local police, dog catchers, city councilmen. You know, what the fuck? We need to have an Americanized chess game. So that would be a better chess game. But let's go with the Bobby Fischer way. The Bobby Fischer way, we randomly assort the back pieces, and we like it, and it's more fun. And so once we do that random assortment, you do the random assortment on that side, and I guess a good way could be like the other person just puts it however they want to. So then they could choose to make it, you know, disadvantage the other one, and then we play it that way. Once we've established that we agree to both of those rules, that's a fair game. We both agree to these new Bobby Fischer rules. If we don't agree to the new rules, then we can't play the game. We have to agree that we're going to use the standard chess rules or the Bobby Fischer way. So if we do the Bobby Fischer way, we would have to, agree on those rules. And once we agree on those rules, I put them on you, and then you put them on, and then now they're set up. We still have the two rows, the two lines. You still got the two rows and the two lines. And we still got to capture the king. And so all the other rules apply. That seems easy and understandable. And I think it'd be better. I think it'd be more fun. How do we tell if it's better or more fun? We play the game. We play the game for a while, for a year or two. And if we like it, how the new rules are applied, then we keep the new rules. If they don't work out, if they're just too complicated or the game is crazier, it's not as fun, then we got to, change the rules again or revert back to the way that it was working before. There are reasons why Section 1.2 was put in there. They said if you want to change the form of government, then you have to have a charter convention. Why? Because they wanted to protect the city manager. And it's probably language that was left over in the 1911 charter. So if the 1911 charter says the same shit, that means we couldn't have changed the 1911 charter. We couldn't have changed the form of government until we had a charter convention. And so somebody once suggested that perhaps Gardasar is actually trying to be a catalyst to a charter convention. I just think it was all unnecessary. I don't think they want a charter convention because Pandora's box. That's actually what Atencio said, that it opens Pandora's box up. And so we don't want to open up Pandora's box. So they're saying that if we're going to change, like I said, the chess game, do the Bobby Fischer way. Then I said, why don't we Americanize chess? I think that's actually somebody should capitalize on. That's a good idea. Pueblo City, take it and market it for yourself and give it to the poor. Americanize it. The pawns can be, again, the police officers, right? And then the executive, judicial, and the legislative branches behind the police officers. So that would be a fun game of chess. And that's the way we should do it. We're fucking Americans. We shouldn't idolize or look up to kings and queens, princesses and princesses. The idea is they're powerful and they're absolute monarchs and they are the face of the nation. And sometimes it works. King Louis XIV, he was pretty effective at doing it. But then other times, think about who you're putting as the face of the nation, right? So that's a huge decision. It should be popularly elected. I do agree with that part of the strong mayor thing, but I believe on popular election for all the positions, all the directors. With the school board, with the children, the students, council, there's a treasurer and secretary, president, vice president. We elect the president, but we don't elect the vice president. We don't even elect the president. So we elect the president of the legislative branch, but the chief executive is appointed by the legislative branch. And then the deputy mayors, they would be, or city managers, they're appointed too. The treasurer, the finance director is not elected. The secretary, the city clerk is not elected. And then, like I said, the deputies, vice president, they're not elected either. So school councils, student councils have greater democracy than Pueblo City. So we could have this is another idea. So what I was trying to say before, the ranked choice voting is a better system. It's the greatest system for an American presidential system. We don't have parliamentary elections here, and so there's some argument for them, but I like the presidential system. So we're going to have a winner-take-all system. The majority winner gets to take all the power, but we need a majority winner. An instant runoff voting guarantees that. Attention to these words. It's a French runoff election. That's what Strong Mayor wants. They want a French runoff election. My idea is an instant runoff voting election. So it's the same idea, but we do it all in one day and we do it instantaneously. We don't have to wait another month. We don't have to have another expensive election. It happens that moment, that day. How does that work? Well, we rank the candidates. So let's take the District 1, Tommy Farrell and Bob Schilling and Michael Stapleton. So Tommy Farrell would have been my number 1 vote, and then you would have my number 2 would be Michael Stapleton, and then my 3rd vote would be Bob Schilling. And so who's the majority? We don't have a majority winner. So that means District 3 cannot coalesce to back one majority winner. Look at the ballot question number 2A. Ballot question 2A. What are we going to do? Strong mayor or to not strong mayor? To be or not to be? So 10.7 thousand, excuse me. And then 9.9, it rounds up, so it'd be 10,000. Anyways, we could actually just figure out the exact amount, right? So 21 away from 100. So 681, this is the 1130 numbers, but at one point, the strong mayor is winning by 681 votes. So that's close. That's a 52% to 48%. So that's by the skin of the chinny chin chin. 48, only 600 out of 20,000 votes, 639. And then some people didn't even vote on it. 488 people didn't vote on it, and then 6 people voted for both of them. So they are clearly stupid. Since we ranked the candidates, right, so my number 1 vote goes to Tommy Farrell. Tommy Farrell comes in second place. So that means Tommy Farrell stays in the running, and then my vote doesn't get switched over. Because there was not a majority winner, Bob Schilling won by 2,046 votes, which is 42%. Bob Schilling is not a majority winner. So the majority of District 1, at least out of the voters, out of the 30% who voted, the majority of those folks did not vote for Bob Schilling. Actually, the majority of those voters voted against Bob Schilling. So they didn't get what they wanted. Now, some people who win by the old corrupt system is going to not like this, but this is a fair way, because now it goes to the second choice of the last place winner. So Michael Stapleton was last place. So who would win between Tommy Farrell and Bob Schilling if we redistributed Michael Stapleton's votes? The people who wanted Michael Stapleton, you know, it eliminates the spoiler effect. It encourages independents to step out there and to run, and you aren't wasting your vote. So you believed in Michael Stapleton, you wanted him to win. Oh man, he lost. He's in last place. So your second choice, who's it going to be? You could have chose, you know, whoever you wanted, Schilling or Farrell. And I can't tell you if it could have been one or the other. I don't know who the Stapleton voters would have voted for. They're probably very much pro-Stapleton. But redistribute their votes, and it's an algorithm, and it's instantaneous. So we're going to have a runoff election the moment that we see we don't have a majority winner. We don't have a majority winner, and so that's why it goes to your second choice for the Stapleton voters. So that's the algorithm. And then if you have longer lists, if you had 5 or 6 candidates, you just keep knocking that bottom person off, redistribute their votes until eventually there's a majority winner. You redistributed Michael Stapleton's votes. Michael Stapleton, 1,200 plus 1,600 would have been 2,800. 2,800 is over 2,000. So we would have actually got ourselves, if there's 3 people that runs for mayor, if we have a 3-way race for mayor, assuming that, you know, they get this illegal shit if it carries on, then the same thing would happen. Only we would have an expensive runoff election, and we would be campaigning for another month. My way, we have the runoff election immediately, right afterwards. There was a majority winner, so we went ahead and went with the second choice voters of the Michael Stapleton voters and redistributed those votes, and then bam, we found out that, you know, Schilling is the winner or Farrell is the majority. Now we have a majority backing one of the candidates. We actually have a functional democracy. So right now only 42% of the voting members of District 1 support. I'm a little bit nervous about the tyranny of the police. To me, they very much feel like a 4th branch of government. Everybody was in favor of an oversight board. The legislative and the executive and the judicial branches have the powers that they do in order for us Americans, us freedom and democracy loving Americans, to prevent tyranny. That's why we have the 3 branches of government. That's American Government 101. It's all based upon the 3. If you don't know the 3 branches, you don't know how anything works. So you're probably confused and scared, and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on around here? And that's why you listen to, you know, people that act like they know what's going on, and they're not, you know, afraid to just say a bunch of shit, even if it's completely wrong. We've had 23 mayors in Pueblo City before. It was a disaster, depressions all over the place, indictments, corruption. It was horrible. The 21 delegates go to a charter convention. The more people, I would actually like to see 1,000 delegates go to a charter convention, but I don't know if there's 1,000 people that would be interested, and I would like to be a delegate at that charter convention. I would have added a voice. I would have made the voting mechanism for the strong mayor thing. In fact, before the election, before all this, I want to go up to Nick Gardestar and just say, hey, change the mayor to instant runoff voting, and I'll give you my support. So if this was, we use this instant runoff voting model, which is the best goddamn system for a American presidential winner-take-all election, which is what all of our elections are, as opposed to parliamentary elections, then instant runoff voting is the only way to go. It encourages independence. It actually is a fair election. We don't have fair elections. It's one-sided towards the Democrats and Republicans, and that's fucking bullshit, right? Independence and the third parties are where new ideas come from, and we all laugh at them, and then we steal their functioning democracy with a civil society. In the great pool of ideas, the best ideas prevail. Ideas are currency in a democracy. So I don't really want to steal. I just want everybody to have a fair shot. It should be fair. It should be fair. And so it wasn't fair. This Chamber of Commerce thing did this all to the side, and he's a lawyer, so he's like, oh, I'm a lawyer, so, I look at it like this. And that's incorrect, Sorry. I mean, read Section 1.2. I'll just keep reading Section 1.2 over and over again until you say, all right, okay, we'll do it fairly. We'll be constitutional. We'll live by the rule of law. So I'm worried about our home rule status. I'm worried about our sovereignty. I'm worried about our autonomy. Section 1.2 doesn't just take away, they didn't only ignore the Charter Convention clause, but they're ripping the Charter Convention clause completely out. So we could just change the government by ballot. Maybe that's the direction that I want to go. So, if I don't get my way, then we can change the entire fucking government by ballot measure. We can change the entire fucking government. So I just got to write a better set of rules. And I guarantee you my set of rules for Pueblo City would be so fair and so honest. It would set up a nice, fair playing field. Libertarians and Greens and Republicans and Democrats and Independents and anybody and everybody would love this thing. I would make sure referendum initiative recalls in there. I would make sure there's lots of democratic mechanisms, but also want a strong functioning system. So one that looks towards consensus with a strong leadership that could get things done. I would write, and I would look at the model charter, the 8th model, the whatever that group that goes around, they got the 8th edition. So they've written 8 different editions for the perfect constitution for. Is there not an adequate check on the police right now? I mean, they just released that damn video, right, after the election, and it was like, yeah, dude shoots dude in the head. Pow. And he's going to get away with it because he's got a badge. He says he feared for his life, which is bullshit, so they're lying. But they did release the tape, so maybe people will, take a look at this thing. Charter conventions should be mandated every 10 years, I think. Maybe every single year. But they're taking the Charter Convention clause out for good, so I could change the entire form of government by ballot measure. All I got to do is what? Like what she said, right? Get 5% of the signatures, get a people's group, pass out a ballot initiative, put this thing on the, on the ballot, and since we can change the government illegally now by ballot measure, overthrow strong mayor next year. Why it's very important to me as a revolutionary, as a person who believes that we are in a constant state, constant flux of change, right? There's new people being born, there's people dying, constant change all the time. It's inevitable. You can't stop. Change is happening, right? So since change is happening, revolution is just like a circle, right? Like the circle of life, like progress, like a plow, like a tire moving the family to, their brand new contour crafting home in Pueblo City. Come to Pueblo City. Oh my goodness. So I apologize. This isn't, it's not my fault. Blame my parents. So charter conventions. There's 3 ways to have a revolution. You can have a crazy, bloody one, which nobody wants, and it would be ideas from Aristotle. I know. I got my problems with the Greeks and the Romans and all those assholes too. But, people in college love this shit. So, I've been sprinkled with a little bit of Roman and Greek and Western civilizational bullshit. Athens was cool, right? They started democracy in Athens. Athens and Attis is like the county and the city. We need one another, we're partners. We're together in this, this fight. We should be one, Pueblo. We should unite, Pueblo. One Pueblo. Doesn't that sound good? One Pueblo, like one love. One Pueblo. We're all together in this thing, whatever you want to call this life, this existence, this consciousness, this ride, this incredible ride on this rock going around this star, this gaseous cloud in this huge, wide universe. Ways that you can have a revolution. When you have a revolution, revolution means you change systems, you change the leadership, you change the culture, you change the nation, you create a nation where one didn't, so essentially everything's different, everything's changed. And there's violent revolutions, but that's a war, and it's bloody, and if you're going to do that, you need to have, popular support. And, George Washington, we were born in violent revolution, and because we have the revolutionary, all those, we have a right to revolution in many of our state constitutions. So we have a right to, it's an inherent right? Just like the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, we also got a right to revolution. It's guaranteed in Colorado, and in Kentucky, and in several other U.S. states. So the three ways we could have and so long as this is important, I've thought a lot about this. This is my revolutionary theory. So it would be a bloodbath. There's no point in even really considering a violent revolution against the, the police state apparatus. Everybody, the military, the cops, the security guards, the, park rangers, to your psychops and your Navy SEALs. Right? Oh my God. Are you kidding? No fucking way. So you have to rule that out, okay? So violent revolution would be a bloodbath. A violent revolution is an impossibility. It is an impossibility. It just cannot happen. So what do we do now? How do we change the leadership? How do we change the government without, So there's two ways that I know that we could do it peacefully. A revolution and a constitutional revolution. Those are the ways we could change the leadership. So that's how you get a revolution. How do you get an electoral revolution? So you take the leadership of the county, the city, the state, the federal government, and you put them over here, and then you get some of these, and you put them there. You change the leadership. Now, does that guarantee it's going to be a revolution? No. They could, we have imperialism. We've got continuity across our presidents, Republican and Democrat, when it comes to our imperialism. So you can, you could get somebody in there that changes the culture and kind of changes the way it thinks. It is a kind of revolution. There is definitely going to be changes, little nuanced changes, but they also could be very much just a third, term of their predecessor. And consolidate those policies and actually tighten up what their predecessor had begun. Regressive. A progressive would change things for the better and be more inclusive and, end poverty and homelessness and blah, blah, blah. Basically, be me, right? That's all I'm saying. It's just my ambition for power, right? This is all virtue signaling. It's not. I'm doing this for free, and I actually want to see change. So charter conventions are revolutionary because they're constitutional revolutions. We have electoral revolutions, change the leadership. We have elections every year. So we got the potential for a progressive revolution every year. And so I haven't really looked at it. I think it might be a regressive thing, but there's, some progressive hopes that in the mixed. That would be my, overall assessment. So I'm not very happy. There's a few. I'm glad the jail was defeated and 300. I'm glad it was. Excited about the street repair tax 2B. I wish they didn't release that video after the election. That just seems like, what the fuck? They waited until after the election. They had to release it anyways. The story was going to come out. So they're just saying, here you go, public. Here's what is going on. So I want to know the politics behind that, why they felt the need, because it looks like they're bragging about it, but it's not clear cut and dry. His life was not in danger. His life was not at stake at all. Now, there could be an argument that more lives could have been at stake. He ran into that tanker. Maybe it was full of gas, but he barely ran into that tanker. So if he would have ran off, then perhaps you saved, possible future lives. But it wasn't because, oh my God, this guy's about to kill me. And they also didn't mention a gun. They said they thought that he had a gun, which they always do. But if you suspect that there's a fourth branch of government, is because it does seem like cops can do as they please without any consequences, without any accountability. So who's the check? Is it the legislative branch? And yes, it is. So when which one of these police, which one of these city councilmen, and it's all men now, right? So Lori Winter is out. Which one of these city councilmen are going to have investigations and subpoenas for these police officers that did this shooting? Which ones? Any of them? And Troy Davenport listens to Steve Noraki. He listens to the Noraki court, but Davenport could very well be Napoleon. He could just take his fascist men and just be like, you know what? I don't agree with city council's policies, and so we're going to have the Davenport policy. And so therefore, his policies would check the legislative branch. And then there's the executive and the judicial. So really all three of them should have a handle on the police. A huge staple in democracy is that their military listens to civilian oversight. So that's why our system is better. We elect our representatives so they come amongst the people and they listen to civilians. So if you just have a bunch of military types, just a bunch of Rambos going around shooting them up, and then, oh my God, and then they'll all defend each other, and nobody's telling them what to do, what not to do. So we need civilians over our goons, over our fascist boots. So I like Bill Maher's quote about civilization. Civilization is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so I appreciate the police. We're in a city, so that's inescapable, right? It's inescapable that a violent revolution would be a bloodbath. So therefore, it's a moot point. You can mention it, but why? You can't do it. It's impossible. So let's move on. Tyrannical fascist governments know is that when you're violent, then they know exactly what to do with you, but they don't know when you're using humor, when you're being nice, when you're using non-violent, if albeit direct action campaigns, if you're being, basically using humor and education and, just getting the message out. They don't understand that. They don't understand the organizing and communicating and banding together. So they don't, if they want to fight you, they shouldn't. That's, these are all good things in a democracy. So the three revolutions, to review it one more time, the coup d'etat, violent revolutions, a George Washington kind of revolution, and then you got a constitutional revolution, and then you got an electoral revolution. Electoral revolutions, we could vote all the people out and put in new people. With a constitutional revolution, we can rewrite the entire rules to the game. We can have a Bobby Fischer kind of chess, or an American. Taking out that charter convention is taking out the home rule sovereignty, our own charter convention. We'll have to listen to the fucking state. It goes along with what that professor was saying, how we have no constitutional standing when actually being a home rule city, one of the original home rule cities. And we're one of the OGs. We're one of the original gangster, independent Catalonias. Catalonia is doing, freaking the fuck out of Spain. Pueblo City, it was a pioneer. We've been Catalonia for over 100 years. We've been Catalonia for 106 years. We rule our own shit here in Pueblo City. So stripping out that charter convention is taking away our own way of doing things. So now we have to listen to the state's recommendation, very micromanaged way of doing it. We can fucking squabble over their interpretation and this little detail, and that it's not very crystal clear. It's muddled, and it's Robert's Rules of Order. And the reason why I like Robert's Rules of Order so much, because it just seems like if we have a pile of people in a room, what's the best way to organize ourselves in order to get our business, conduct meetings and business conducted, and to solve problems to our, get the solutions to our problems and actually make our meeting useful. So it's just a science of how to interact better, and that's genius. So why would we? So we can form our own charter convention, and the point is, even if people don't know parliamentary procedure, the whole point in all of us gathering together in a popular assembly is that every person's concerns, every person's gripes is important. Every person's. So if there's somebody being bullied, somebody being terrorized, somebody is poor, homeless, we want to hear if somebody just has a bellyache, if somebody has the flu, we want to know about it. And if there's something we can do about it, we should. As like about the Romans, Athens, the Greeks. So in Athens is the birthplace of democracy, white male landowners. So, that's how the Americans began. And so they started the idea of democracy, right? They only thought they were the citizens. But we're all citizens, one person, one vote. Very American, right? We still believe in that because this boss mayor does feel very tyrannical. And it feels like the local establishment, the local voting establishment who likes, so the 16%. So this takes away our constitutional revolution. This takes away our city, our home rule, our way of doing our constitutional revolution, our charter convention. We can do the charter convention, essentially we want a brand new charter, we're going to write the rules to the game, and here's the new rules. That's the point. Are we going to trip over technicalities? Because the first 2 months, in 6 months we can have a brand new charter. In 2 months, we're going to have a special election for a charter convention. In 2 months after that, the 21 delegates will be elected to the charter convention. And then 2 months after that, we elect a charter. It'd be a strong mayor charter. So right now, strong mayor is very much in breach of the law. Strong mayor is an illegal anarchist who just formed out of, it's a Frankenstein, you just made it up out of fucking thin air. And our charter and ordinances, it's all Frankenstein monster anyways. We need to get it all on the same page. Charter convention, what a wonderful, incredible opportunity. And we're changing the rules. So it's not political, it's not liberal, it's not, the conservative. It's just, let's have a fair game. Let's play Monopoly. Let's have fair rules so that we all have a chance, that we all have, just equal opportunity, equal rules, due process, the same process and the same opportunity. So just that it's a fair system. And taking away the charter convention goes against my revolutionary core. It goes against my revolutionary soul. It goes against everything that I am made up of. And I don't like it. It's Chamber of Commerce. It's off to the side. They're just throwing a ballot measure at people. And we can do better than this. We can do better than this. So I can go through the specifics. I think this is kind of long enough. But there's other specifics. New departments are being created. They are term limited, but only consecutively. So non-consecutive, you could have a mayor for life. You could have two people like a dynasty, right? How we were doing Bush, Clinton. That could happen with the mayor. So they're term limited to 2 consecutive terms. So they could be like Grover Clevelanding this motherfucker until the end. The legislative branch has a budget, but they can't fire the city's executive director no more. So it substantially weakens the legislative branch, the city council, which essentially represents the people. And we had the British, the Great British, there was a king, and then they had a parliament because they represented the people. They were representatives of the people. And the king could essentially do as he wanted, but with the parameters of policies of the legislators. So as long as he could get the 500 representatives of the people on his side, then he could, do whatever he wanted. But by having that check, by at least having, 500 congressmen or 50 senators or 7 city councilmen or 5 school board members, was to check the executive. They're going to be a tyrant. Of course, it would be easier if it was a dictatorship. But somebody needs to check them, and it needs to be the legislative branch, and they represent the people. Personally, I like our 3 branches of government. I think it's genius. The rest of the world has picked up on it. So maybe we should rediscover the 3 branches here in our own community. So we could fire the executive branch. The legislative branch could fire but with the strong mayor, you can't fire him. He's here for 5 years at least. And then if he is smart and he's intermittent, so people live to be 76 years old or so. So he could be fucking mayor for half his adult years from 18 to 76. So what is that, 60 years? So he could be mayor. We could theoretically have a mayor in Pueblo City for 30 years under the strong mayor. So it doesn't stop tyranny. And it actually, because it's strong mayor, it's basically promoting its tyrannicalness. City manager was already a tyrant to begin with. So we're promoting a popular tyrant. This is our elected king. It doesn't totally strip the legislative branch of all its powers. The legislative branch can now confirm the department heads. There's 15 departments. Before was it the city council? No. So before the city manager hired and fired everybody, now the city council gets the confirmation power of the directors of the department. So there's 15 departments. There's going to be 15 directors. The mayor is going to say, I want this person to be the director, and then the city council will either confirm or deny. And if they deny, then that means the mayor has to nominate somebody else. That's the process. So it has to be somebody the fucking mayor nominates. It has to come out of his stupid sewer mouth, his stupid, his stupid shit mouth. And then they get the confirmation powers of the department director heads. Now, city council is not allowed to meddle with any of the city employees. It's all the city manager. So in a way, it increases the tyranny, but it does give a little bit of leeway for city council. So this would be something, if I was a city council person, a city councilman, since they're all men, I would exploit the shit out of this. So you can confirm the department heads. So get on the same page. Here's something else I would do if I was city council. I would get into a union of 4 people. If you got 4 people, a 4-person union, so the Democrats could just unionize. That would be a natural union, but they can unionize however, right? Isn't that how that one guy, one survivor, right? He unionized all the people in the very beginning. So that would be the way that I would, city council gets 4, and then we'll say, here's our department heads. Since we get to confirm them, you get half of them, we get the other half. And here's the 7 we want. 2,000 employees in the city. So for, 1,993 of them, the city council don't have any decision-making, ability on the thing. For, 7 department heads, maybe if they can, negotiate with the mayor, maybe they could get 8. Maybe they could actually get the majority. He gets 7. He gets the nomination, but he's not going to get any goddamn thing. They have to work together, right? The nomination and confirmation process forces the mayor and the city council to work together. They must work together. If the mayor nominates somebody and city council doesn't confirm, then there's no department head, or the old department head is the department head, or nobody, So we have a broken government. We got a stalled government. And so they have to work together, unionize 4 out of 7, pick your department heads, 8 of them, and say, here's our department heads, and then he gets to pick whoever he wants to pick. And it's illegal. It's not listening to the rule of law, so it actually is flagrantly is unconstitutional on its face. It's just unconstitutional. So by having this illegal thing, and we're building it, right, like the house on sand thing. So overall, city council can't fire the mayor, but they get the department heads, which is a little bit. 7 people, but it's the heads, it's the directors, and then they get to hire whoever they want to hire. So indirectly, they could have power over some other ones. The finance director, the public works director, or the 20 other directors, the new purchases and supplies director. Who's going to get to be the director of purchases and supplies? Whoever the city council. So if it fucking passes. So I'm just saying analyzing the actual mechanisms. They're changing. This is a new Bobby Fischer chess, right? So is Bobby Fischer chess, this strong mayor, going to be? Bobby Fischer is crazy. American chess game is just an incredible genius idea. I should call Mattel or whoever makes games. And then call it something else. We don't have to call it chess. We change, right, football and Native Americans and God, we're assholes. There's a judiciary. There's no independent judiciary. The mayor will be a king over an army of judges. 4-3 is deleted, right? So they're basically bitches to the fucking mayor. Mayor is all powerful. There's some other shit. 70 charter amendments. There's a lot of things that's in this. So the actual mechanisms, it's not clear. It does make the executive stronger, but the judicial branch is going to be in disarray. It's going to be obedient to the executive, so the executive is going to control the judicial branch. Maybe this of the 3 branches is that they're co-equal branches, and then they have a check here and there. So the way the U.S. government works, like the confirmation powers with the Supreme Court. So once the Supreme Court justice is chosen, then essentially they got absolute power till they die. So they have to be, I think, just like the department heads, nominated by the president, confirmed by Congress. Nominated by the executive, confirmed by the legislative branch, and then they're part of the judicial branch for the rest of their lives. And the point of doing it for the rest of their lives is so they make sure they rule justly on all these different things. Is it possible the three branches could collude and become tyrannical? Yeah, with Nixon in Vietnam, the Supreme Court was too scared to do anything about it. With Andrew Jackson and the Trail of Tears, they ruled against Andrew Jackson, but they couldn't enforce their sovereignty. So essentially, it was unconstitutional. Also disrespects Pueblo City's progressive history and heritage. It takes politics. It puts politics back into the decision. We're still waiting for Superman or Superwoman, right? So Sam Azad, this is a slap in the face of Sam Azad. There's like, fuck you, Sam Azad. You did a shitty, horrible job. But Sam Azad, theoretically, for continuity's sake, I would consider voting for Sam Azad to be the mayor, because he's been running shit and it's peaceful, and the people are getting paid and stuff. So like there's a surplus. So he's oversaw the marijuana legalization. He's the one that saw the budget, make sure we paid for these cameras on these police. So it was Sam Azad or Velez. People were saying there was no confidence in him, but he was the one that put body cameras on the police. So these are, I don't know what people's beef with Sam Azad would be. He seems like a nice guy. You could report, you decide. No, I talk, you decide. I am kind of a citizen journalist, but revolutionary. I'm revolutionary. I'm doing this for free. I'm not making money out of doing any of this. So, yeah, we're revolution. We're in a constant state of flux, constant change. Everything can always be improved. We can always make things better. So why wouldn't we? Even if things are running well. Hey, is your car running well? Yes. Well, how long did you change the oil? It's been a while. Why don't you go ahead and change it and make the car run better? If you want to, right, you can make things that are working well run better. You can clean up your own house and organize your own house because you love your own house. Or you could just say, I love this house, and just, neglect it and not give a shit. Just have a patriotic pride in your house and then just let it all go to shit. I think we should always be fighting to perfection towards making things better. And yeah, we can. That's essentially what I feel about this. It strips City Council of its power to fire the chief executive, so it increases the tyranny of the mayor substantially. It's popularly elected, which I love, but I also want the police chief and the fire chief and the finance director, the public works director, the deputy mayors. I want popular democracy for all the department heads. Why do the confirmation, give it to the people? Who do you want running our wastewater? Who do you want running our water board? And that's another thing. They have to be independent. So what kind of tyrant can't even control our water? So there's a million reasons to be against this damn thing, but the main reason it's illegal. Section 1.2 says you can't do it. It's not fair. So point of order, Pueblo City, point of order, objection, or permanent injunction, or just say unconstitutional and bang your gavel and let's all go home.